Yo, what's good, everybody? So, today's story time is definitely a funny one. Definitely a little bit crazy. It's unlike anything I've talked about on this channel before, so I hope you enjoy it. Please leave a like for my pain, and let's get into it. Now, today is the story of how I got catfished. So catfished beyond belief. Now, if you don't know what being catfished means, it's when you, meet somebody on the internet or on a dating app, whatever. Or you could even meet somebody in real life and get catfished. Essentially, all it means is they're not the person you think they are. Like if you match with somebody on Tinder and then you go meet them in real life and they look the complete opposite of their profile pic, you've been catfished. Also, sometimes you can go meet somebody and it's a completely opposite person. So anyway, now that you know what being catfish means, let's get into the story. So today's story time takes place back in the wonderful year of 2019. Now, I had just broken up with my longtime girlfriend. I was definitely a little bit depressed, a little bit heartbroken, and I was in this really unhealthy mindset that a lot of people have gone through before, where when you just get out of a breakup, instead of dealing with the shitty feelings of, being sad, of missing your ex, whatever, you distract yourself by getting on dating apps or going out to bars or wherever and just trying to replace the person you just broke up with. And that's the mindset I was in. So I installed all these fucking apps, dude. I downloaded Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, like every app you could think of. And I just started swiping. Trying to find a girl to like take my mind off the breakup, which is so unhealthy and so not good. But unfortunately, that was my mindset. So about a week into being broken up with my ex-girlfriend, I was on Tinder one night and I matched with this girl. And she's like a year older than me. She lives like 8 miles away. And everything about her bio seemed like stuff that I would enjoy. I think her bio said something along the lines of like, she liked, playing video games, and like her song listed was from an artist I liked. She just looked like we had stuff in common, right? So yeah, we matched, and I sent a first message. I was like, yo, what's up? And she was like, hey, with a smiley face. And before I knew it, we were having a full-blown conversation. And we talked for days and days and days. We probably talked a whole week and a half before we actually scheduled meeting up. And I just want to let this be known. The conversations that I had with this girl on Tinder for like a week and a half were actually all pretty friendly, but not like very flirtatious. Like it kind of felt like I was talking to a friend, if that made sense, which I kind of liked. I was like, okay, cool. This girl isn't like super like just trying to hook up with people and dip. You know what I mean? Like she seemed like she just wanted to get to know me as a friend first, and then like we'll see where it goes. So anyway, like a week and a half into this, we both decided we wanted to meet up, and we had plans to go on a little date, get some lunch together at this like diner spot, like 2 miles down the road from my house. And I was excited. I was really, really stoked to meet this girl. She was a cute girl. Seemed like she had a lot of the same interests as me. She seemed dope, right? So it was the night before our date. I was really excited for the next day because it was finally going to be the time where I'd meet this girl. And I'm just on my PC playing some Counter-Strike, just like chilling, right? And I'm still messaging this girl. Like I'm texting her because now we had our phone numbers and stuff. And she asked me what I was doing. And she goes, what are you doing? And I was like, just playing some CS. And she's like, oh, I love CS. Like, can we play together? And I was like, sure. So now I'm really excited, right? I'm like, okay, I'm about to play some CS with this girl. She plays CS. Like, that's dope. And I'm going to go on a date with her tomorrow. And she lives in the same city as me. Like, this is sick, right? So she gives me her Discord. And I add her. And she calls me on Discord so we can play CS. And I answer the call. And she's like, hey, what's up? And I was like, hey, like, how you doing? And she's like, good, let's play. And we played like 2 games of CS. And it was really fun. She's actually pretty good. And I just thought it was cool. Like right before our date the next day, we got to play some CS together, got to talk on Discord, got to know each other a little more. It just made me even more excited for our date, right? So fast forward to the next day, I wake up, I get up out of bed, I get ready for our date, I take a shower, I'm excited, right? Like everything's just going good. I had a really good feeling about this girl. My mind was no longer on my ex. Everything was good. So I went to the restaurant. I walked in, I was the first one there. I sat down at our little table we had reserved, and I'm just waiting for this girl to show up, right? Well, like 10 minutes goes by, right? She's not there yet, and she's 10 minutes late, and I'm like, damn it, like, please don't let me get stood up. Like, please let this girl actually show up on our date. I don't want to like have to deal with, getting like stood up and have to sit here alone. And another 10 minutes goes by. She's still not there. Then another 10 minutes goes by. At this point, it's 30 minutes past our reservation time. I'm sitting at this table alone. The waitress keeps coming up to the table, asking me if I need anything. It's just weird, right? I'm not having a good time. So I decided to give her a call. I'm like, okay, she's 30 minutes late. Like, it's probably justified to call her and ask where she is. So I call her. The phone rings. It rings. It rings. She doesn't answer. So then I text her. I'm like, hey, our reservation was at this time. I'm here now. Where are you at? And she just doesn't respond. And it gets to be like an hour, and she's still not there. And I'm like, okay, you know what, dude? Fuck this. So I ordered food, and I just like ate a bunch of food by myself at this table and just like tried not to think about the fact that I got stood up on this date, right? And after that, I got the check. I paid for the dinner, got up. As I was leaving, my waitress like stopped me, and she was like, hey, I just want to say I'm sorry that your date didn't show up. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. It's all good. Like, appreciate it. And then I left, right? Now I get back to my house, and I'm sitting there in my living room, and while I'm sitting there just like pissed off in a bad mood, I get a text message from none other than my Tinder date that stood me up. And it just says, I'm so sorry, ... And I responded, and I was like, for what? And she's like, for standing you up. And I was like, it's fine. I just wish you would have told me you weren't interested before I went there. And she's like, no, that's the thing. Like, I am interested. The problem is, like, I've been keeping a secret from you, and I'm afraid if you find out, you won't talk to me anymore. Now, I had only been talking to this girl for like a little under 2 weeks. So it's like, what could she possibly already be hiding from me? So I tell her, I'm like, listen, just tell me the truth. Like, whatever you're hiding, just tell me. I'm sure it won't be that bad. And if it is, then oh well. But like, just tell me the truth. And she goes, I really just don't know how to. And in my head, I'm thinking like, what? Like, what? What does that even mean? So I respond and I'm like, listen, like, you got to tell me the truth because otherwise we can't make this work. So whatever you want to tell me, tell me. And she goes, okay, can we do it in person? And I was like, sure. Do you want to go to my house or yours? And she goes, my house. And she texts me her address. So I go to her house. I get there. I go up to her front door. I knock on it. And nobody answers. And I'm like, oh my fuck. Here we go again. I end up knocking for like 2 or 3 minutes. Nobody answers the door. I try and call her. My phone goes to voicemail. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, is this girl trolling me right now? And just as I turn around to leave and just like get back in the car and go home, the door opens. The front door at her house opens. And I turn around and it's her. Like, it's the girl from her pictures. And I was immediately relieved. I thought to myself, like, okay, good. At least I didn't get catfished. Like, it's actually her. And she goes, hey, what's up? And it's her voice. It's the same voice from Discord. And I'm like, what's up? Like, nice to meet you. And she's like, yeah, you too. And she looks like super guilty, like really nervous. Like she has to tell me something. And I was like, so what is it? Like, just lay it all out. Like, I promise you, I'm sure it's not going to be that big of a deal. And she goes, listen, it's going to be a big deal. So just strap in. And I was like, all right, yeah, tell me. And she goes, so you haven't been talking to me this last like week and a half. And I'm immediately confused, right? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we played CS together yesterday. Like, you were on the mic. It was you. It was your voice. Like, I heard it. What are you saying? Like, what do you mean it wasn't you I was talking to? That wasn't you yesterday? And she goes, no, like, that was me on the mic. But, like, on Tinder and, like, during that game even, it was my brother. And immediately, my whole mood shifted, dude. Like, my heart dropped. I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, like, he's just trying to make friends, and he thought catfishing people with my pictures was a good idea. I didn't know he was doing this to you until yesterday, and he asked me to play a game with you. Like, he was going to play on the keyboard, and I was going to talk on the mic. And, like, I didn't really know what he meant by that. Like, he's kind of shy, so I thought maybe he just wanted me to, like, talk to the teammates while he played. But then, like, I heard you mention while we were playing, like, us talking on Tinder and, like, the date we had planned. And it made me realize what my brother was doing. And I didn't want to say anything, like, on the call right then and there in front of everybody. So after we got done playing, I told my brother that he has to tell you the truth right then and there. And he said he was gonna. But then today I asked him, and he said he still hadn't done it. And he stood you up at, like, some date y'all had planned. So I told him to text you and get you over here so I could just tell you face to face, like, I'm sorry. And I'm just, like, standing there speechless. I'm like, yo. So in the span of a minute, I just found out that I got catfished by a dude. The photos he was using was his sister, who was literally the girl I thought I was talking to. and that she got manipulated as well into this whole thing. And like, it was just awful, right? So finally I'm able to speak, and I'm like, okay, is your brother here? And she's like, yeah, but he doesn't want to talk to you. He's too embarrassed. And I was like, how old is he? And she's like, he's 21. And so he was around the same age as me. He was like close in age to me. And I was like, so he was trying to make friends? Like, he thought catfishing people on a dating app would be a good way to make friends? And she steps out onto the porch a little bit more, and she closes the door behind her so that nobody can hear her in the house. And she gets real close to me, and she's like, listen, like, my brother, he's extremely socially awkward. He does not make friends easily. My parents and me both kind of think that he has a disability, but it's not been diagnosed yet. Yeah, so don't hate him too much for this. Like, he's not a bad guy. And I was like, okay, like, I understand completely. But, like, a dating app, like, is he really just looking for friends? Or, like, does he like guys or something? And she was like, no, like, I don't know, maybe. I'm still trying to figure that out myself because this whole thing's new to me, too. Like, I didn't know he was doing this with my photos. And I was like, yeah, I understand. And she's like, look, either way, like, at the end of the day, I'm so sorry. Like, if I would have known this was happening sooner, I would have shut it down quicker. But I thought he would do the right thing and tell you. So I'm sorry that he didn't. But yeah. And I was like, no, it's all good. I mean, at least it didn't go on, like, longer than 2 weeks, right? And she's like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, all right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And she's like, yeah. And she like goes in for a hug, and I hugged her. Kind of a pity hug, if you will. She was probably just like feeling bad for me. And as soon as we got done hugging and I went to turn around and leave, she said something that I did not expect her to say. She goes, just so you know, if you ever want to like actually have that lunch with the person that you thought it was, me, I would be down for that. And I like felt my heart go from being like in my stomach to back of my chest. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, like that'd be fun. And I was like, yeah, that'd be amazing. It'd be cool to get to know you, like actually you, and not, you know, your brother, no offense. And she was like, none taken. And she's like, when do you want to do it? And I was like, how about tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. So I went home. I sat down for a sec because I was in disbelief of the whole situation. And then I jumped on Discord and I told one of my homies about it. And he was like, bro, so you got catfished, but then like you ended up scoring a date with the actual girl for tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, this is like better than any episode of Catfish on TV ever. Like, that's a story right there. You got to tell that shit. And I was like, dude, don't you worry. I'm already going to write it down in my notes right now. And I did. And then the next day I went on that date with her, and it was actually really, really fun. I was a little bit nervous because I was like, all right, like I'm actually going to meet the real girl now and like see what she's like. But she ended up being super cool. We hit it off pretty well. I'm not going to lie, it's not a complete happy ending. We didn't like get in some relationship and live happily ever after. We dated for like 2 months. But those 2 months were very fun, and she was very cool. And we're still cool to this day. Like, I still see her sometimes out in public, and like we're friendly. There's no beef or anything. And it's always going to be a very, very special friendship because we both met through catfishing, which is crazy. Oh, I also forgot to mention that I met her brother, by the way. Like, a month into our relationship, I went to her house to hang out, and I saw her brother there, and like we met. And he apologized to me, like, face to face. And I was like, dude, it's all good. It all worked out in the end. Actually, if anything, thank you. I'm just glad that when I was talking to her brother, it didn't get like super flirtatious. We were just like friendly. It wasn't flirtatious. Thank fuck. Because that would have made things 10 times more weird. But yeah, in the end, I got to meet a really cool girl and got to date her through being catfished, which was crazy. And yeah, that's it. That is the story of how I got catfished. So I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely a crazy one. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I will see you guys all later. Peace.
I'm in a bad mood, I can see it today. I remember all my friends and now I'm all that remains. I got some bad news, gotta go, I can't